Get your game face on. Get your game face on.
G'day and welcome to our finals edition of the Gameface Footy Show for the Southern Football Netball League Division 2. My name is Russell Robson. I'm joined as always by Tomo and Wilbur here. And we've got some top stories for you right off the bat. Murrumbina too strong for Keysborough. Dobson overpower Hampton in a big clash. And the big sports news story is not Ben Stokes over there in the Ashes Game 3 scoring a miracle 100. It's you two and your top 25 selection of the best players in Division 2 for the year. There is so much talk back online. We just have to address it, boys. You have absolutely copped a shellacking online for your selections. No, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I'm going to firstly say there is no Gameface app update. Jane Bunn has officially been given the sack. Tomo, what happened, mate? Did you hear?
Enough was enough. I think they had to go. But yeah.
Had to go. I love it. Had to go. No, of course, there was only 2 games from the weekend, so we've scrapped the Gameface app update, which I was a massive fan of. I really liked it. The hand movement, this silky smooth. JB.
Got the footy involved as well.
You did. You were
silky
good.
Skills and. But
anyway, we'll talk about all of that.
Bit of a shame.
Bit of a shame. Keysborough and Murrumbina was the first game of the weekend, the first final. It was on Saturday. Keysborough 8-9-57, defeated by Bina 10-10-70. You two boys had a close look at this one. It was a good game of football in the first half, a little bit scrappy in the second half. What happened? Talk me through it, boys.
Free flowing footy in the first half, and plenty of scores on the board. But I think it was probably about 3 goals to 2 after half time. They really tightened the screws. Murrumbina, they'd already built that lead in the first half and just refused to allow Keysborough to get back into it. A bit of a physical contest, sort of got a bit willing there in stages, but a fantastic win for Murrumbina, and obviously you boys are going to take them on next week.
Yeah, and it was a good game of footy. The first half was free flowing. It was a pretty physical game. I reckon there'll be a few sore boys. The midfield battle, I thought, was won by Murrumbina. Ambrose played basically midfield the whole time, and he was, I thought, their best player. Hackett as well, and they're hard to stop when he goes forward. He scores, and he kicked a really important goal for him. Hargroves plays that defensive type, hard as nails, isn't he? Got opened up there.
Yeah,
Come
fair
back
bit of
on,
claret.
no worries at all. Apparently got some stitches and that the following day or that night. But they won the midfield battle. I thought Chris Bryan played a really important role for Keysy, across half back, against the Breeze. They were just too polished in the end. I thought they felt like they had him at arm's length. Every time Keysy looked like, they scored, Murrumbina would have the answer straight away. So, yeah, they deserve to win. They
win the awards, the midfielders, and obviously the umpires are around them all the time, so they get the Brownlow medals. But they are worth it. A good midfielder. Good midfielder is worth his weight in gold, isn't he? And the teams that have them have got a good unit in there. Good ruckman, get the ball out of the middle and give their forwards first look at it.
Yep.
Obviously, the teams that go deep into September, and Murrumbina, they've just got it going on in their midfield at the moment, don't they, Wilbur?
They certainly do, and they've also got a few players still to come back into that side. I understand Mitch Walder's not too far away. He hasn't played a lot of footy this year. Nick Brazel still to come back in as well.
Sfnl.
And of course Jake Sfnl, who's just an absolute bull through that midfield. So some selection headaches down there for
Lewis back from suspension too.
Yep. But can all 4 of those guys just slide straight into a side that was very impressive on the weekend?
Yeah, it's a hard one. Well, points will come into it. They played on 47 out of 47 on the weekend. Brazel's 4 and Lewis is 2. The other 2 are 1. So you're going to be stiff. You're probably not going to be the worst in the side from the weekend, and you're probably going to have to make way
Makes
for
it interesting, doesn't it?
Points-wise,
The point system, because you don't know what you're going as an opposition coach, which you're going to be, Tomo, when you take on Murrumbina. You don't know what you're going to get, and you have to wait till the team sheets come out before you can probably start planning around what you're going to do.
Yeah, a little bit. It's hard. You don't want to deviate from your plan too much. But you want to get the matchups right, for sure.
Yeah. I think the key point for this game for mine, Murrumbina's defence, they were just sensational. I thought Matty Lello, clearly the best man on the ground for mine. You might have a different opinion, but down back he was just absolutely superb. Dundon was also pretty good down back as well. And obviously with a couple of big forwards up in your forward line, will make for an interesting contest, but we'll chat about that a little bit later on. But how do you see Murrumbina's back line? Does it stack up with some of the best in the comp?
Yeah, it does. It's up there. I think Lalo's the best defender in the comp. Probably head-to-head with Anil. plays sort of a pretty similar role, to be
Yep.
honest. But for me, he's the best defender in the comp.
All right, well done. Murrumbeena got the chocolates over Keysborough. Keysborough being the form side all year, you would have to say, top of the ladder for most of it. But then when it gets serious towards finals, Murrumbeena really have got it together, and they are looming a massive threat for that premiership in Division 2. We'll move on to the next game, which was played on Sunday at the same ground down at Cheltenham. Dobson got the chocolates this time over Hampton, 12-14-86 to 7-9-51. It was a good day for football, as opposed to probably Saturday. It was very windy. Sunday was a perfect day for football, and I played my first game back since playing against your mob. Yeah, finally got back out there.
Didn't kick 7 like you did against
No,
us.
I probably didn't.
Wasn't that only a couple of weeks ago he kicked 7 or?
I don't
Or am
know.
I reading?
Yeah, come on now. That's
gotta let that
a
one
good
go.
13, 14 weeks ago now, and I felt like I had concrete in my legs, Tomo, and you'll know what I'm
I
talking
saw
about.
you walk through the door, put the crutches down, or your walking frame.
Oh, not feeling good today. I need to do something about it. But look, let's get into the game, boys. Hampton obviously beat Dobson last time they played them at Dobson's home ground. So Dobson came into this as probably underdogs with the form coming in. A lot of names back. Probably about 10 inclusions really helped. And I really have to say, because obviously it's my club, pretty happy with the way Dobson went about it, because we're challenged. First half, it could have gone either way. The boys came out after half-time and really put them to the sword, Hampton, and it was over probably, you would have thought, halfway through the third, you felt like Derby had it in control, Wilbur.
Yeah, absolutely massive second half there from Dobson. And I think probably the big concern that you and I had, Tomo, was with so many players coming back, and not all of them have played a great deal of, or have had a great deal of continuity throughout the season, whether or not they'd be able to gel, to click immediately. But they certainly did after half-time, and they blew Hampton away. But Hampton, obviously sort of the fifth-ranked side all season, a tremendous effort to really serve it up to what on paper was a vastly superior side for half a game. And yeah, they should be probably happy with their efforts, I would have thought.
It's a similar question about Murrumbeena. Do they need to make 4 changes this week? Well, you know, it's a tough one. There's probably no right or wrong answer. If it comes off, it's the right thing to do. But if it's not, all the questions get asked. Do we really need to make 4 changes when we went so well the week before?
Hard to change a winning side, Will, but really, really hard to do. So they've got a selection headache when it gets to it. But for Dobson, I really like what you said there last week. I don't necessarily like it, but it's the truth. When you've got like guys coming in and out, you don't have that regular form of guys playing together. It makes it a lot tougher. And it's fair enough that you guys and most people out there, the footy public that know Division 2, will be looking at Dobson going, oh, I'm not so sure, because Springvale had a pretty healthy list for a while, been able to stick together for a while. Keysy, probably the same with Murrumbeena as well. So they definitely are. But I tell you what, Tomo, the Dovey boys rolled up really fired up on Sunday.
They're coming.
Because they heard the coverage of this fella covering the Keysborough Murrumbeena game, and the words were, and I quote, "It's a 3-horse race, and the other 2 are just making up the numbers."
What's he got against Dalton?
I don't know. Just a deep-set
Whole
hatred.
year he's had it in front. Whole year.
Explain yourself.
Bloody hell, apparently I have it in for everybody, because I heard from a couple of the Murrumbeena faithful that, you know, they've been sliding under the radar. We don't really rate them. We don't rate Keysborough. We don't rate Dobson. Apparently this is a Springvale bloody district show. And everything's geared towards this,
so
man.
the boys are into me about that as well. It's the Spring District. So let's put this to rest, because we've got to move on, because I want to get into this top 25 thing. It was a bad end to the game, wasn't it? And you can report on this one, Wilbur.
Well, it's unfortunately, Mark Devereaux broke his leg in the last 52 seconds of the game. He just come back onto the ground after sort of having a bit of a cut on his knee, and sort of got that fixed up and came out and attacked the marking contest and landed awkwardly, and snapped his tibia, which is a real shame. I think as we go to air tonight, he's about to have surgery to get a rod put into that. So to you, Cracker, all the best with your recovery. I know you've had one, and it's an awful injury to have.
Yeah, it's shocking. I think you were saying before, it's a similar situation. I just had a newborn kid, and it broke my leg, and I was on bloody crutches and plaster for 6 months. So he's just going through that as well.
Yeah, he's about to have a child in around about Christmas, I believe. So
it's tough.
Puts a few things in perspective.
Probably not the surgery and stuff. It's more after just the recovery. So all the Crackers mates, make sure you get behind him.
What was your recovery after the surgery? Let's get this right, because no doubt you would have been a real professional about it.
Yeah. I had the footy the next day. So I had the surgery, got on the Friday, and the Saturday they discharged me, and then went and coached. It was the first ever senior game of coaching. And we won.
That's commitment, right there.
Absolutely, it is.
We beat Sky. Well, we beat Sky, and we had a couple of beers afterwards to celebrate. And
Just 2 beers?
Oh, it was going to be 2 mid-strength beers, and ended up being about 2 slabs. And it was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my life was waking up in the morning.
So swollen because of the alcohol. He nearly burst the plaster, ladies and gentlemen. So, Devro, don't do that. Don't do as it is.
Do not do that.
Just want to quickly tie this up. Will we go, mate?
Yeah, just he also plays a fair bit of cricket too, Cracker, and won a premiership with East Sandy in the sector last year. So hopefully he can get back early enough to at least play some sort of part in their premiership defence.
Let's just talk quickly about the good players for Dobson, and we'll talk a little bit about Hampton. You maybe want to talk about Hampton. I'll talk about Dovey, and you can do that as well, Tom, if you like. I thought Netty Battle really set us up in the first half. He came out fired up. He used his pace. Obviously, he gets tagged every single week, and he just uses his pace to push past it. Big rooter, Reedy in the forward line, marked everything that came his way. He's just such a big presence, and you know him. You know Reedy, he's a very good player, and you'd love to have him at Springvale. You'd love to have him at Murrumbina Keys, but I'd love to have him. He's such a great guy as well, and Nick Beer as well. In the best players, those 3 guys were absolutely fantastic and set Dovey up for the win.
Yeah, I watched the vision today. We stuck with Battle as number 1. He probably hasn't had the year he had last year.
Yeah.
We stuck with him number 1, and he went on the big stage. Yeah, he was the best player on the ground easily.
To be fair, he did win the league medal with an absolute leg in the air last year, and even though he sort of come back to the pack a little bit, I still think he's the number 1 player in the competition.
What about MC? Is he going to be all right?
He'd be fine. It was a big hit at the end of the game. Obviously, Hampton, the season over, thinking about the Beers, probably went a little bit the knuckle in the end, or got a little bit upset in the end, and probably fair enough. A couple of blokes ironed out towards the end of the game, but we don't need to talk about that. Let's talk
the
really
MRP will deal with that.
We'll talk about Hampton really quickly. Where to for them this season? You obviously give that a tick, or would you give that a cross?
Look, they haven't played finals for a few years now, so I would give that a tick.
Okay.
So they'll be pleased with that. Obviously, they didn't get the chocolates in this one, but I think overall some positive steps. Obviously, the Craig McIndoe won't be coaching him next season, and as we said a couple of weeks ago, they're looking for applicants there. They'll tidy that up over the coming weeks and really attack that pre-season. Hopefully, Devereaux can be a part of that next season.
I don't think he will. He won't be playing. I could almost assure you that. And I reckon if Roberts does, our man from last week, does get the job, I reckon he'll be coaching from the sidelines for the first maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
We'll leave that one alone. But in all honesty, if you are looking for a good club to play at and a club that's on the rise, Hampton would be a good choice if you live in that area. A great bunch of blokes. Top 25 players, feedback. We're going to get into this now because you've copped plenty of it. Some honourable mentions, firstly, from you guys that probably didn't make it, and some of the ones that online have said that probably should have. Now, I'm going to pull you up again because the Dovey boys were not happy when you named the Keysborough ruckman, Sutton, as clearly by a million miles the best ruckman in the league. Big cheesy.
I don't recall saying
Cam Carmody. We can replay that.
Stop
we can
putting
find
words
that.
in my mouth, Russell.
You absolutely said that. Cam Carmody, not happy. Very good ruckman. I don't know about.
You made the list.
Anyway, I'm gonna hand it over to you guys now because you've copped some feedback. You've had a look at it. Talk me through it, you boys.
To be fair, I expected a little bit more vitriol, to be honest, knowing what social media is like. But we'll touch off on the ones that were legitimately stiff. Donk.
Yeah, he reckons he was stiff. Yeah.
He reckons he's the best player in the league.
Yeah.
I think he's had an
He was
outstanding
saying
season.
top 10, but yeah.
I think he's had an outstanding season.
No, he has. All honesty, he has, yeah. He was stiff to miss out.
Tom Wilkinson, been in and out of side with injury for a few blokes. At his best, right up there. I think we had him in there pre-season.
Yeah. At his best, he's easily in the top 10, but he's had a bit of injury problems, but he's over that now, and look out for a big final series.
There were a couple of mentions for Joff Humphreys and Jesse Odell from Keysy and Chelsea Heights as well. We could make an argument for those guys.
For sure. Two ripping blokes too, Odell and Humphreys. Yeah.
And George Angelopoulos unfortunately dropped out of the top 25. It was in the pre-season.
Not a ripping bloke, George.
I'll stand in your corner, George. I got you.
He's a beauty. Yeah, he'll love that.
And a couple of the guys at the netball yesterday from the Bears are wondering where the bloody hell Adam Ballard was. He is an absolute star for the Bears as well.
There's some pretty good ruckmen in Div 2, aren't they, really?
Yeah,
There is, absolutely.
and obviously Cheesy as well, who is apparently a million miles behind Sutton, according to this man.
And
Not us.
I didn't say
Ryan
it.
Kitchen too. An ex-VFL ruckman. There's some really good ruckmen in Div 2.
But of course,
Danny Wilson. as well.
Yep.
It's great ruckman.
Yeah, some huge names there. But we had a couple of others that there was a lot of love for Joel McConville from Sky. I mean, apparently, according to a few of those guys, Joel should be playing probably AFL. I think he's should have been a lot higher. Baxter Lease.
So just with Sky, he is a good footballer, and Bateman too. I really rate Bateman. He's genuinely stiff to Mr. 25.
One of your men, Matty Suter.
Suits?
Yep.
25 was it, or 50? 100. Stiff. No, he's a good kid, Suits.
I think at the end of the day, there's probably about 50 blokes that we have at number 26. So we'll leave that up to interpretation. And of course, Reece Clayton from Murrumbeena. Yeah, geez, he was stiff.
The one that was stiff for me from Springy was Liam Hamilton. He's a good young kid on the up. I reckon he was number 26. We'll have to put the poll out and see where he finishes up.
50 does not go into 25, even 100. We could have pulled out a lot of names that have had fantastic years. Make it sure you make, if those guys are from the clubs that are playing in the finals, make sure you make it count right now, because what it's all about is not the top 25. It is about winning a premiership. And the guys that are probably drinking today and were drinking last week, they wish they were in your. You got something to add to it?
You know what? I think what we might do is we might run a poll later on in the week and just try and find out which one of those blokes was really unlucky. We'll get your thoughts at home. Jump on, vote on the poll, and we'll see who the number 26 player is.
What we should have done today is all the teams that didn't make finals or the Mad Mondays, we should have went live from Hampton. We should have went live from Hampton today. It would be interesting.
I don't reckon that let us in.
I think that's a great idea. We should have done that. We should get involved, get the dress-ups going.
Well done, boys, and well done for putting yourself out there and trying to find a list of the top 25. You can do your own list of top 25 and would probably pick that apart as well. There are a lot of good players in this league. That is the lesson to be learnt. Let's move on. There is we're looking forward to a grand final footy show. There's going to be no team of the week this week because obviously there's only a couple of teams, only 4 teams have played out of this whole competition. But what we will do in a few weeks' time, we're going to have 11th of September, the grand final, the Gameface grand final footy show. I can't wait for this, Will. This
will be huge.
We're going to be doing it live. Team of the year to be announced at the Division 2 grand final footy show. We haven't got the venue sorted yet, so just stay tuned for that. We will let you know as soon as we possibly can. You can probably find that out on the Gameface app or on our Facebook live feed. Hope to see a big crowd in the house for our last show of the year. You'll be there, Tomo?
I'll be there. Yeah, hopefully we're lining up for a grand final. If we're not, well, maybe we'll have a few beers instead.
Sounds good. But I know we've put a bit of time into the team of the year, guys. So I'm sure there'll be a few happy people, a few really disgruntled people as well.
We love it.
But no, it'll be absolutely massive. We'll probably even have an announcement on the venue probably before this goes to air as well. So this will be absolutely massive, and hopefully we can get a massive crowd down there to watch us do the show. And hopefully we can get a few of you guys as well that turn up to be involved and get a few interviews and really pump it up because we're near the grand finals, mate. We're not far away.
If anybody says in finals time there's a breakfast with alcohol involved, us Victorians, we're all over it, aren't we? Cannot wait for that. All right, we'll move on to round 2 of the finals, brought to you by Melsafe. The second semi will be happening at the Cheltenham Rosellas ground, again in Wetherall Road at Cheltenham, Saturday. Springvale Districts versus Murrumbeena. Whew. I cannot wait for this one. This is going to be a cracker. The 2 form sides of the competition, you'd have to say, Wilbur, they are going to go at it. They're going to lock horns. Who's going to come out on top?
Hard to go past Springy. I think the week off would have done them the world of good. Beena, they went straight from their game straight down to the beach to get a little bit of recovery in, and I think there won't be much in this one come the final siren. Tomo, you've obviously put a fair bit of work into Murrumbeena. How do you approach this one?
We've beaten them both times, but they, to be fair, they haven't had their full book out there. They'll be pretty close to full strength, and in my opinion, and probably other people around the league, they've got the best list in terms of playing list. Whether they can put it together on the day and whether they can, they've got some older guys, whether they can all play on the same day. If they do, they've clearly the best side.
You're healthy at the moment? Your list is healthy?
Yeah, we're pretty healthy. Yeah, we've got a couple that will come back from the Keys again. That week off they probably both wouldn't have played had we played the first final, and there's 2, possibly 3 that could come back in. But at the same time, we need to make sure the balance is right in the side. So we'll have a bit of a look at that tomorrow night and go up against a bloody good footy side in Murrumbeena.
Who are you looking at? Who do you need to stop? Obviously, we know LJ is a great forward, probably the best forward in the league. Who do you stop? Because there's quite a few, isn't there?
LJ, Brazel, he's a really good player. The one that's come back in from his hamstring. Mitch Wilder, if he comes back in as well, he can play centre half back, centre forward in the ruck. He's a really good player. They've got good players. Their midfield's unreal, like I just spoke about earlier. So, it's more of a team defence rather than probably stopping one or two players.
Kitchen really impressed me, their ruckman, on the weekend, and I think that if he can have a bit of an impact in the air, and obviously give his midfielders first use, it'll go a long way to helping their chances. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Spring will be too strong. But make sure you get down there. That'll be a massive game.
Double chance, so it doesn't mean it's all over. You go through to the grand final if you win this game.
When you go through, you lose, you play Dobson or Keezy, whoever wins that.
Whatever happens there, and look, I have to be honest, Wilbur, we would have to be honest and say good luck to Springvale. Tomo, you've done a magnificent job this year, and coming in each week talking about your football club, I think the boys have really stuck to it and produced a pretty good year. You'd be pretty proud of it so far. Go well on the weekend. Let's move to Sunday.
Just before we move on, I think this will be the grand final preview.
Yeah, because it's a 3-horse race and the other two are just making up the numbers. The Elimination Final Sunday at Cheltenham, same ground. Keysborough will be taking on the Dobson Eagles. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. Keysborough will be very disappointed of their performance on Saturday. They would have loved to have got over the top of Murrumbeena, of course, but they're going to take on Dobson. Now, Dobson have beaten them twice this year and match up really well against them. I reckon this is an interesting game of football, Tomo.
I think they beat them both times last year too, and even possibly the year before. I reckon last 6, maybe Keezy might have won one of them. They've definitely got the wood over them, and they definitely won the 2 games they played this year. I don't know. I think Dobson on form and on matching up against Keezy, it's hard to go past Dobson. And as you said before, they got the tails up and played a really good brand of footy, especially in the second half. They were really hard to stop. So I don't know. I know there's some really sore boys at Keezy. If Keezy play their best, they should win. But I don't know. I don't know if I can go past Dobson in a real close one.
This is almost a pure guess. I mean, these two sides are very, very evenly matched. You say Dobson Eagles on form.
You've circled both, so who are you picking?
Well, this one, there won't be much in it either way, I don't think. Obviously, on form, one swallow doesn't make a summer, and I don't think one game necessarily means that you're in ripping form either. Keezy, they're a little bit bashed up after last week's game, which sort of might not work in their favour, but I think more than anything else, the fact that Dobson Eagles have rolled them twice already this year, probably in their heads a little bit and match up well against them, and I think Dobson Eagles...
Why have you circled Keezy and circled Dobson?
Because I'm very indecisive, and I'm really, this is a flip of the coin decision. This will be closer than the first one, Spring Districts and Murrumbeena. This one will go right down to the wire. And
might be a
why Dobson? Why did Dobson beating Keezy?
At the end of the day, I think probably their midfield will probably get them over the line. I think as much as they've got some power forwards down there at Keezy that can really rip a game apart, you look at the guys like Michael Callanan, Nick Battle, and then some other guys like Beer as well. They'll probably get the edge over, the sort of older, sort of slower guys through that midfield for Keezy, your Bombers and your Joffers and those sort of guys. I think Dobson Eagles through that midfield get first use of the footy, they'll win the game.
Hard to tip both of these games. They're going to be cracking games of football. But hey, if you are going down to watch both of these games, make sure you have your responsible hat on. If you're going to have a few beers, make sure you do that, but do it right. Don't get too involved with the game. Just enjoy your friends. All right, we've had some troubles over the last few weeks.
CP Robinson, don't have 5 UDLs and jump the fence again.
Yeah, don't be doing any of that, because we want a safe place for all our footballers and football fans alike and kids to come along to the football and enjoy it. And if you jump on the fence and trying to get involved in the game as a supporter, I mean, what are you doing? Let's wrap it up there, boys. I will be playing, absolutely. I cannot wait to play my final game of football, or my second last game, or third last game of football.
He did well, Sheepy. There was a little bit of a push and shove at half time, and I saw him, and he just sat there and goes, I'm not jumping the fence this week. And sit still. Got the club. Both clubs in trouble.
Good man, Sheepy.
He's learnt.
Robbo plays, Dobson wins. There we go.
Good on you. I love it. Well done, Wilbur. Well done, Tomo. That's been a great show. Make sure you download the Gameface app to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the Southern Football Netball League Division 2 and these finals games. It is gripping at the moment. They're going to be 2 absolute crackers. I'll see you 2 next week, and these guys as well. Bye.
Get your game face on.